Hi, I'm Nick Nanton, and welcome to America's Premier Experts, the one and only place where we bring the top experts from all around the world directly to you. And I've got just one of those experts here today, Miss Rachel O'Brien-Eddy. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you. And obviously, it's called America's Premier Experts, but like I said, we bring people from all around the world. You live in Bahrain right now, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Which we're going to hear all about that too. But tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I actually grew up outside of Portland, Oregon, and we've moved around a fair amount. So we've lived in Tennessee and Texas as well, and now we're living internationally. And I love working with people. That's the business that I do. I am a success coach, and I help people really break through to that next higher level of success in their business and in their life.
So helping people break through to the next level of success, obviously you must have learned these skills somehow in your own life. Tell us a bit about the story that really helped you break through.
Okay, well for me, I actually used to live a very different life than I do today. Today I travel all over the world, I've got a successful business, and I mean it's incredible the things that I'm doing, but years ago it wasn't always that way. In fact, when I grew up we had absolutely no money. I mean we were very poor and it was a really, really rough life. And by the time I hit 18, I knew I wanted something better, and so I became an entrepreneur, and I struggled a lot. And I remember having my kids at home and we were living paycheck to paycheck and things were so difficult, but I always wanted to achieve that higher level of success. And really when I hit kind of rock bottom, what I would call it, I was so bad in my life that I was 90 pounds overweight. Wow. And I just, no matter what I did, nothing was working. And so I made a decision to get serious and really transform my life and my business. And that's exactly what I did. So now I'm able to help other people have those same transformations in their own lives.
That's awesome. And I know you brought some pictures. Why don't we bring up the before?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Tell us about what you felt like there compared to when we show. Well, obviously we can see the after now. So
yeah.
Tell us what you felt like there. I mean, what was making you feel that way?
I mean, it was horrible. Being that much overweight, I mean, no matter what I did, nothing was working. And it really was a reflection of the things that were going on inside of me. You know, I was just very unhappy. I was not living with purpose. I was just basically existing. And I was trying so hard to make a better life because I didn't want to continue the path that I had been brought up with, the path of having nothing and struggling all the time. But I didn't know how to really make that change. And so, you know, it just, at the end of the day, I ended up gaining all that weight and just feeling so miserable on the inside. And honestly, I remember looking in the mirror at myself almost every day and just saying, you know, I hate who I am and who I had become, because I knew that I was here for a bigger and better purpose, and I wasn't living that purpose. And so, you know, it was a really tough situation.
Wow, and I love, you know, the material that you do. I love the fact that you break things down and help people get there, because there are lots of lofty 30,000 foot success, you know, tapes and CDs and DVDs and books and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But very few people really understand the how-to, because for you, obviously you have an amazing turnaround story, but most people 90 pounds overweight, they don't even know where to start. I mean, you feel inside you're so far gone, there's no way to get out of this. And really, I think we all know that it's small steps at first for sure. Yep. But tell us, people who are watching, maybe a quick step that if someone someone recognizes, first you have to be able to recognize that, wait a minute, there's a problem. Yep. Or I want to change. You have to be able to recognize that. But what's maybe an easy first step someone can take?
Well, the best thing that you can do is learn how to set an effective goal. So one of the things that happened for me was I was never dealing in reality, and that's what I like to call it. I wasn't being honest with myself, so I never really knew where I needed to move forward to. So the first thing I teach people when setting a goal is you've got to deal in reality first. You have to know where you're starting from so that you can get to that end result. So the first thing I would say is to identify where you're at right now and then set that goal. You know, if it's a business goal, for example, you want to, you know, increase your customer base, or if you're wanting to lose weight like I was wanting to as well, it's the same principle. You've got to have that goal to shoot for, but you've got to break it down step by step.
Yeah, I think that's a great lesson in and of itself. Every goal most of us set for ourselves seem lofty, but a friend of mine, Dr. Quabain, he says there's no unrealistic goals, just unreasonable timelines. And so the fact of the matter is you absolutely have to break it down, because if you don't break it down into achievable steps, all you're doing is failing over and over again, right? And no, that doesn't, you know, perpetuate success for anybody. Now, I know you have tons of success stories from people you've worked with all around the world, but could you share maybe one or two with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that just brings me so much joy is one of my clients said to me, Rachel, for the first time in my life, I've been able to go out to dinner by myself and have the confidence to sit there and not feel judged or criticized. That right there is a self-esteem accomplishment,
That's huge.
but that's huge for someone.
Right.
I mean, that's life-changing for someone. I've had clients who have increased their income up to 40% in just 6 months from working with me. And really what happens is they connect with why they're doing what they're doing. So a lot of times in business in particular, we're working hard, but we get to a point where we're not even sure why we're doing it anymore.
Right.
And that's what I find with a lot of my clients. And so when you can get somebody to identify why they're doing what they're doing, what gets them on fire, what gets them excited and motivated to go out and live their life and work every single day, phenomenal results can happen. And in that particular case, I mean, that's a huge result in just 6 months.
That is, and that is the thing. These are hard things for us to identify the answers ourselves. That's why Tiger Woods has a coach. That's why every successful athlete and entrepreneur in the world has coaches, right? So
Yep.
you do the same thing. You look from the outside and help someone break it down into trackable, measurable goals. And I'm sure you hold them accountable, which is part of the whole deal. You got to have some accountability, or you're never going to break through those things that you think they're not going to be fun. But once you start achieving success, it's amazing. I mean, I changed the way I ate about 6 months ago. And dieting is a hard thing. And I don't like to say diet. I just changed the way I ate, right? But it sounds like it's really going to be horrible. It sounds like, why would you ever want to eat that way? And then when I started eating that way, I started feeling so much better. But taking that first step and having someone hold me accountable and saying, Nick, I know this is good for you. I know it sounds like it's going to stink, but it's really great. I feel 1,000 times better. But I know without someone to hold me accountable, I never would have done it.
Absolutely. And I find that with my clients as well. It's that accountability factor and then having a step-by-step process. And what I did is once I transformed my life and my business, I created a system that people can then plug into to achieve the same, if not better, results than I had. And so it's all about that step-by-step process. I found that people want to make changes and people want to live a dream life. I mean, who wouldn't want to be traveling the world and having a successful business and doing all these wonderful things? Who wouldn't want that? Right? I mean, everybody wants it, but how do you do it? So I actually created a system that helps walk people through that process of the how-to.
That's awesome. What I love about what you've done is you've created a system for proven, repeatable results. If not, it's just a shot in the dark. But if someone wants to actually achieve success, they need someone with a proven system that's actually repeatable. So great work. Congratulations on that. Now,
Thank
if
you.
people want to find you, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this and say, I need help. I need someone like that in my life. How can they reach you?
Awesome. Well, they can just go to my website. It's connectwithrachel.com. And I actually have a free download on my site where you can learn all the tricks and strategies that I use to set and achieve goals. And it's all kinds of goals, life and business. It's a free download on my website.
Awesome. So connectwithrachel.com. That's awesome. And thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks.